I worked the front desk at a Stockholm hotel. An American checked in and asked what time the gym opened. I said 6 a.m. He asked what time it closed. I said 10 p.m. He nodded, satisfied. Then he asked, "What about the business center?" I told him 24 hours. He smiled. "Perfect. I'll need coffee sent up at 5 a.m., strong black, 2 cups." I said we start breakfast service at 6:30. He stared at me. "You don't have 24-hour room service?" I explained we're a 3-star hotel, not the Ritz. He pulled out his phone and started typing. In America, even Motel 6 has coffee available all night. The next morning, he came down at 5:45. Furious. No coffee in his room. I explained again breakfast starts at 6:30. He said he had a crucial call with New York at 6. I suggested the cafe across the street opened at 6. He looked horrified. "You expect me to leave the hotel before a business call?" "Yes," he asked for the manager. My manager told him the same thing. He wrote a review calling us unprofessional and hostile to business travelers. His stay was for days. He never used the gym once. A German tourist once asked why Americans vacation so little. Before I could answer, an American in the lobby shouted, "Because we're not lazy?" The German was asking genuinely. The American thought it was an insult. Anyway, here are more stories about Americans who brought their work culture abroad and couldn't understand why nobody else wanted it. Working at a Paris cafe taught me that Americans view coffee differently. A woman ordered an espresso. I brought it. She took one sip and called me back. "This is cold." I touched the cup. It was hot. She said, "No, it's not in a to-go cup." "I have a meeting." I explained, "We don't do to-go cups for espresso." She blinked. "How am I supposed to drink it while I walk?" I suggested sitting. She looked around our cafe full of Parisians, sitting, talking, reading. "I don't have time to sit," I asked when her meeting was. She checked her phone. 40 minutes. The cafe was 3 minutes from her hotel. She had 37 extra minutes. I offered a table. She refused. "I need to prep." "Can you just put it in a paper cup?" We didn't have paper espresso cups. She asked for a regular coffee cup with a lid. We didn't have lids. She stared at me like I'd told her we didn't have electricity. Finally, she dumped the espresso into her water bottle and left. My coworker asked what just happened. I said American efficiency. He said it looked like anxiety. Same thing, apparently. I manage a small pharmacy in Oslo. An American came in asking for high-dose caffeine pills. The strong ones. I showed him what we had. He read the label. "This is only 200 milligrams. You got anything stronger?" I said that's the standard dose. He shook his head. "In the States, I take 800 milligrams before lunch." I asked if his doctor recommended that. He laughed. "My doctor tells me to quit coffee. But I got deadlines." He bought 4 boxes of the 200 milligram pills. I asked if he was staying in Norway long. He said 3 weeks for a work retreat. I didn't mention that mixing jet lag with that much caffeine might kill him. He came back 2 days later, jittery and pale, asking for sleep aids. I gave him melatonin. He asked, "Nothing stronger?" I suggested decaf coffee. He left without buying anything. I teach English in Tokyo. An American student arrived 20 minutes late. I mentioned our class starts at 7 p.m. She apologized and explained she got stuck in a work meeting. Said we'd already started the lesson. She asked if I could catch her up real quick after class. I explained that wouldn't be fair to other students. She offered to pay extra. I declined. She looked confused. "But I'm willing to pay." I said it wasn't about money. She said, "Then what is it about?" I explained it was about structure. She said in America, her college professors always made time for students who were serious. I said this wasn't college, and in Japan, being on time shows respect. She said her job was demanding, and she couldn't just leave meetings early. I suggested she find a class that fit her schedule. She switched to a different teacher. That teacher told me she was also always late. I work at a beachside hotel in Santorini. An American couple checked in for 5 days of total relaxation. First morning, the husband came to breakfast in a button-down shirt and khakis. On a Greek island. Duh. In August, his wife wore a sundress but carried a laptop. They sat at the most beautiful table ocean view. Perfect breeze. He opened his laptop. She pulled out her phone. They both started typing. I asked if they needed anything. He said, just keep the Wi-Fi strong. For 3 days, they sat at that table, working. Other guests swam, explored, napped. This couple had video calls. On their 4th day, the wife asked me, "What's there to do here?" I stared at her. "You're in Santorini," she said. "Yeah, but we've seen the view." "What else?" I suggested the caldera, the wineries, the villages. She said they didn't have time, they were leaving tomorrow. I asked what they'd been doing. She gestured at her laptop. "Catching up. We've been slammed." "Then why come to Greece?" She said we needed a change of scenery. They left a review saying the island was pretty, but boring. I'm a tour guide in Reykjavik. An American man booked a Golden Circle tour, full to geysers, waterfalls, national parks. Beautiful. We started at 8 a.m. He showed up with his laptop bag. I asked if he wanted to leave it at his hotel. He said he might need it. For what? Geysers don't have Wi-Fi. We drove to Lingvler National Park. Everyone got out to see where 2 tectonic plates meet. He stayed in the van, typing. I asked if he was feeling okay. He said, "I'm fine. Just need to finish this report." I said we were at one of Iceland's most significant historical sites. He glanced up, looked around, nodded. Cool. Went back to typing. At Gullfoss Waterfall, same thing. Massive glacial waterfall, thundering water, rainbows. He stayed in the van. At Geyser, the actual geyser erupted while he was on a phone call. He missed it. When we got back, he asked if I knew any good coffee shops with strong Wi-Fi. I suggested his hotel. He said he needed a change of scenery. Just spent 8 hours in some of the world's most beautiful scenery. He didn't see any of it. I run a small inn in rural Ireland. An American woman booked a week, said she needed to disconnect and recharge. Perfect, we are in the countryside, no cell service, weak Wi-Fi. She arrived and immediately asked about the Wi-Fi password. I gave it. She tried connecting. "This is really slow," explained we're rural. She asked if there was a cafe nearby with better Wi-Fi. Nearest cafe was 30 minutes away. She looked panicked. How am I supposed to check my email? I suggested that was the point of disconnecting. She said, "Right, but I still need to check in with work." I asked how often. She said, "Just twice a day. Morning and evening." It's not disconnecting. She spent every morning and evening sitting in our one good Wi-Fi spot, the front porch, on video calls. Other guests would come back from hikes, pub visits, sheep spotting. She'd still be there typing. On her last day, she said, "This was exactly what I needed." Then she got in her rental car and took a work call before driving away. I work reception at a ski resort in the Swiss Alps. An American man checked in on Friday evening. Told me he was here to completely unplug and decompress. Handed me his business card anyway. I asked if he was here for the skiing. He said, "Absolutely. I haven't skied in years." Perfect. Saturday morning, he came down in full ski gear. Looked ready. Then he sat in the lodge and opened his laptop. I asked if he was going to the slopes. He said in a bit, "Just need to handle something quick." 2 hours later, still there. I asked again. He said, "Almost done. Never went skiing Saturday." Sunday morning, same thing. Ski gear on, laptop out. I finally asked, "Sir, are you actually going to ski?" He looked annoyed. "I'm trying to. But my team keeps messaging me." I asked if he'd told them he was on vacation. He said, "Of course, but I'm still reachable. It's not a vacation." He said, "I can't just disappear for a weekend. Things don't stop because I'm gone." I mentioned Switzerland has existed for centuries without his emails. He didn't find that funny. Monday morning, he checked out. Asked how the skiing was over the weekend. He said, "I didn't actually make it to the slopes. Spent 3 days at a ski resort and never skied." I asked why he came. He said, I needed a break from the office. You brought the office with you. He said he'd try to actually unplug next time. Then he took a call in the parking lot before driving away. Maybe one day, Americans will realize that vacation isn't a place, it's a practice. You can go to the most beautiful locations on earth, but if you bring your work with you, you're just relocating your stress. The rest of the world figured this out. We have siestas, long lunches, mandatory vacation days. We don't wear busyness like a badge. We're not lazy, we're sustainable. Americans talk about work-life balance like it's something to achieve someday. In most countries, it's just called life. You work to live. You don't live to work. And when you vacation, you actually vacation. You don't schedule calls between museum visits or answer emails at dinner. You disconnect. You rest. You exist without producing. The saddest part? Most Americans who can't unplug aren't saving lives or running countries. They're middle managers. Their emergencies are emails. Their crucial calls could wait. But they've been taught that rest is weakness and boundaries are laziness. So they bring spreadsheets to beaches and laptops to lodges, and they wonder why they're still exhausted. If you're American and you've done any of this, don't feel bad. Your culture did this to you, but you can unlearn it. Next time you travel, leave the laptop. Turn off Slack. Tell your team you're unavailable. The world won't end. Your job will survive. And you might actually enjoy your vacation. You got more stories about Americans who can't stop working? Drop them in the comments. And if you're planning a trip soon, do yourself a favor, leave work at home. Your future self will thank you.